I said I have to do something for Michael. This can't, I have to do something for Michael. And I got all my cousins and did like this thing for him. I held a concert in my basement and I charged people. It was like $25.
What's up, everybody? Talking Trash Podcast. We are back at it. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Again, Talking Trash brought to you by our good buddies over at Club 93. And we have a supreme guest today. My man, undefeated heavyweight boxing prospect, Scrap City, Danbury's own, Fernely Feliz Jr. How you doing, big guy?
That was probably one of the best intros
Hey,
ever.
Listen, I'm starting to get into this whole host thing, so I was like, we got to intro it right, man. And the Ali Feliz t-shirt, your younger brother, who is also a professional, he's 2-0. By the time this episode airs, there's a good possibility he may be 3-0. Man, we had a little bit of an issue with your brother before we walked in here today, didn't we?
Yeah, I mean, typical younger brother shenanigans. I love my brother. He's the best. He's the.
He was reneging on a deal. I mean, we don't have to put the whole business out there, but it's I've noticed that Ali. We love Ali. That is my guy. I have a special place for Ali Feliz in my heart, and hopefully, if we could afford him, we'll try to get him on the podcast by himself one day.
That's if you could afford.
If I could afford him, he is Ali Feliz, and I mean, we're gonna get into you and your brother, but Ali really he tweaked you a little bit today before we walked in. I mean, this is real life, people. This isn't a skit. This isn't a joke. He kind of got under your skin a little bit.
Just a tad. He ordered a nice, beautiful chain for himself, and it came with some VVS diamond earrings, which you said, hey, brother, I'm going to give these to you when they come in. And I guess he forgot about that deal. And
well, listen, he is a pro now. You are a pro. And I think, unfortunately, we've all learned, which we'll get into our history. And, we need things in writing now. So now, Ali, we are going to put a poll out there for everyone watching this. Should Ali Feliz honor his word to his older brother and give him those earrings? So, folks, we are going to have to comment on this and vote. Should Ali Feliz give Fernely Jr. his earrings? You're just due. I believe you're due. You do have a witness. Our boy Jason was a witness.
Jason Benitez is a witness.
So, folks, what do you think? Let's drop a comment. Should Ali Feliz honor his word to his older brother and give him the earrings? So I just felt like we had to put that out. Well, I'm about honesty and transparency. I just felt like it was important to put that out there. And
I thank you for it. It's been bugging me. I had to get it off my chest.
So, guys, as you guys know, I've been in boxing now, going on 14 years, okay? I don't want to age myself, but how I got into boxing was so bizarre, just like kind of how I got into hockey, really. And it was really your dad, Fernely. I mean, I'll never forget getting involved with boxing, helping out a barber that's no longer my barber, but he was a barber of mine who was in need. And, of course, because I'm a sucker, I decided to help him. And usually, my dad always taught me, my mom always taught me, if you're going to do a good deed, that you do it because you want to do it, not because you're looking for something in return. And plus, he was cutting my hair. I didn't want to push my line back. So he asked me conveniently while he was shaping me up if I could help him. Long story short, that's how I met your father, who also Feliz Used Auto, sales in Danbury. This was before he had the shop. So that's how I met your dad, helping a barber out. And
I remember that.
The funniest thing was, I tell this story, I just never forget, like, after I met your dad for a total of 2 minutes, I thought that I didn't know him. I thought that was the extent of our relationship. I helped the barber out, and I was out of there. I never forget your dad called me the next day, and he said, "Champ, what do you know about boxing?" And I just remember being like, absolutely nothing. I know nothing about. I like to do your dad's voice like I do Simon. There's certain people's voice I like. I do Simon Levy. I do your dad. I do a couple. But I'll just never forget your dad telling me, like, hey, have you ever gotten involved with boxing? I'm like, I don't know anything about boxing. And we could go on forever about it. But your dad really talked me into getting involved with professional boxing, which is insane. And that's where we met. And you were born in what? You were 96, right?
96, yeah, 96.
So you were I think you were 14 years old when I met you. Yep. 14, maybe 13, 14 years old.
13 going on 14, I believe.
And I remember Ali was what? He was even younger than that. And I just remember meeting you guys. And you know when you just know when you meet someone, you're going to have a relationship with them no matter what. And you two were, especially you, we hit it off. And, I was 24 at the time. You were turning 14. And, yeah, man, we just hit it off. And this boxing journey kind of like just went into overdrive. And, we didn't have Champs Boxing Club back then. We had nothing. We really, you remember those days. We were traveling with fighters to, your dad was training guys. We had to go all over to train. And I always remember that one time at my house when you came up to my closet, and those were the days where I really wore a lot of hats. And, dude, I gave you and your brother probably 50 hats, maybe.
I think it's more than 50, bro. I just remember one day you were like, come upstairs or whatever, and man, you showed me your closet, and you were like, look, I don't want these hats anymore. Take them. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
And at that time, I used to wear a lot of hats, a lot of fitteds. I only had like 3 hats at the time that I used to wear. Man, I left with like my hands full of hats.
My mom probably gave you a garbage bag. If I know her, she probably gave like one of those garbage, because there was a lot of hats. And I remember my mom's like, you got to clean your closet. She used to like get on me. So I just always remember that. And man, it's crazy. I mean,
I had hats for the next 10 years of my life.
Yes. And it was great, man. It's just so funny. I always remember those days. And Ali got, maybe that's why he didn't give you the earrings. Maybe you took some of his hats. You ever think of that?
I think I did. I think I took all the hats for myself. I made a whole collection.
Well, this is what you call karma, my friend. Maybe Ali has just had this all building up inside. But let's get in a little bit. Aside from our history, we've known each other for a long time now. Your rise in boxing, I mean, you were a boxer basically from birth. Before I knew you, I mean, you've shown me videos of your dad training you, and even Ali, who looked like he could barely stand. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's sometimes in life you just see the destiny, right? And I mean, it just seemed like you were destined to and I hold this near to my heart because, my father's my best friend, and my father, I mean, I was always in my dad's shadow as a young kid, and I always wanted to do everything he was doing. And, as your dad was a pro boxer, high-level boxer, prospect as well. And man, do you remember when you started boxing really, or just trying?
Geez, man. I just been around it from
birth.
From birth. So I don't really remember the first time going to the gym or like the first time putting on some gloves. They were just already on me.
Yeah. It's crazy, man. And I love those videos. I mean, you show me, you're like me, you have so many old videos. And you and your brother, man, it was kind of like, your dad was molding from birth. And it's crazy to watch because, I mean, fast track now, you both are undefeated pros, both doing huge things. And, man, it's like a lot of your dad's hard work and his vision has really, really paid off.
Yeah. You hit it right on the head there. His vision, he saw it. I mean, he really didn't want us to box at all.
Yeah.
He was like against it. He was like, you guys should, play baseball. Typical Dominican thing. Play baseball. I tried football. I was great at basketball. And I didn't think myself I'd be a boxer until like high school, freshman year. I started going to the Harambee Center, an old gym in Danbury. And that's where I started to realize the talent for real, like that I had, I'd get in the ring randomly and spar with people for fun, but I had a talent to get away from punches, and my reflexes were on another level at a young age. So I just had it in me. There was like something I had to do.
I'm a firm believer that DNA is real. Like, people say, I'm telling you, people are just born with certain skills, and we always – I mean, basically, you and your brother are the names in Danbury boxing. And quite frankly, it's like I tell people all the time, I'm like, Fernely has God-given gifts because, I mean, and you've leaned out, you look great, you've been working so hard. No,
you don't have to. God.
You look great, bro. You've been working so hard the past year, and but you were a lot bigger, and still, even when you were bigger, I used to tell people, like, in the amateurs, like, super heavyweights don't move like this. And I mean, how many trips we've been on together, National Golden Gloves, and I'd be on the outside watching, and you'd hear people like, what the hell? Who is this? This kid's a freak. Like, your head movement, your defense. And that's really what boxing is hit and don't get hit. You know what I mean? It's not like a lot of people when they hear boxing, they think it's like Rocky and Drago slugging it out, but it's not. It's hit and don't get hit. And I think where, even when I got into boxing, we started Champs and I was watching you, I was amazed, like, just your defense is just like, it's like, and your dad was slick too. You know what I mean?
That's where I got it from. Like, my dad used to play this game with me as growing up as a kid where, like, anytime I would wear a hat, he would, like, jab the hat super fast and tell me, if you can get away with it, like, you can get away from any punch, basically. And he would just try to always just jab me and jab me and jab me. And I just developed this, like, little twitch where I can just get away from stuff. And it was just passed down to me, man.
Dude, it's
crazy.
It really is. And guys, we're gonna put a link in the description. Your Instagram, obviously, some of your fights. I mean, you're 8-0. Man, it's crazy. Watching you. You were the first. I've been involved with pro boxing for years, but it was different when you went pro for me because I knew you as a little kid and through the amateurs, and it's like. I almost got like nervous for the first time when you went pro. Not because I doubted what you can do, but it's weird when you're really close with someone and they go pro. Like, people just don't understand how dangerous boxing can be, I
mean, also, it's just like you were so involved too at an early age. I was 19 when I had my first amateur fight, and that's pretty late for a lot of boxers. I just so happened to be, a pro since birth.
Yeah,
let's just say, but. I could only imagine how you felt because you had a lot to do with my amateur career, from like my first fight,
Well, it was funny because when we started the gym, it was 2015. So you were, 18, 19 years old, I think?
18, 19, and I thought I was going to be the next big thing. I thought I was going to be a music producer.
Yeah.
So,
well, we're going to get into just how multi-talented you truly are. But I remember we started the gym. And the only question everyone always had is, when is Fernely Jr. going to have his first fight? And it used to bother me because I know what it's like to have pressure on you and people kind of pushing and pulling you to, this is what you're destined to do. And I know what that feels like. And how do you deal, like, because I understand, but a lot of people don't get, people just don't get how tough it is to follow footsteps and just the pressure it is to, like, follow those footsteps. You know what I mean? It's great. People don't really comprehend it.
My whole life, it's always been like, are you going to box like your dad? You should box. Oh, you're going to be a champion like your dad. And like, for the longest time, I didn't understand it because I like I said, I played baseball, basketball. I'm an entertainer, so I like to entertain growing up, dancing, stuff like that. But then, I just embraced it as I got older.
Yeah.
I said, you know what? This is who I am and what I do. And
it's so, I tell people all the time, unless you've been in this situation where you have a parent that did great things in their life and still doing great things in their life, it's very tough for the kid. I always told you, because a lot of people, they use the same terms with us for different reasons. Oh, you're lucky, you're this, you're that. And I always told you, you're not lucky, you're fortunate. Yep, that's the quote. And because I used to really take offense growing up. Oh, you're so lucky, and I am lucky, but people don't realize following in footsteps how tough it is, and then you start kind of in your mind saying, well, do I carve my own path? Do I follow the footsteps? If I do follow the footsteps, what if I fail? People don't comprehend it, man.
Yeah, and thank God I was blessed with a great dad who, like I said, he wasn't for the boxing.
Yeah.
Like, for me, he didn't want me to box at all. Like,
he always blames me to this day. Maybe once a month when he sees me, he gets he's like, I was out of the boxing.
Yeah.
We started the gym. You had to get involved, and now they're both fighting. So it's funny.
Man, like when we opened the gym, I thought I was going to be the next big thing in music production and produce like great songs or whatever for big artists. But we opened up the gym. I was like doing my little class with my friends and whatever. Man, and then you just kept watching me spar and just like this talent. And I was doing it for fun, just for fun. But then you just called me for a meeting. You said, you want to have a meeting at my house? Typical AJ. You want to have we have to talk.
Yeah.
And man, I remember it like it was yesterday. It was the first meeting I was ever on time to.
Yes, I do remember that. And you were on time you've been good, man. You used to be on Fernely time, which is all right. Because I'm not the most punctual guy sometimes, but you've been,
hey, 6 o'clock was really 8:30. You know? But yeah, I remember the meeting. You told me what you thought. You said, look, I think you should try amateurs. And I think you're very talented. I think you could win a lot of these tournaments. And I was like, huh? You know, Golden Gloves. You were telling me, I'll never forget. You were like, you know, you're not a businessman. You're a businessman. I'll never forget that. I was like, huh?
I stole that from Jay-Z.
I know.
You
said it.
I'm just making sure because someone's gonna comment. I ripped that off.
No, you gave him his credit, but you got my mind going. And then I told my dad, you know what? I'm gonna give this boxing thing a try. He didn't want me to. He still said no, don't do it. And I kept bugging him for like a good 2 weeks till he got in the ring with me.
Yeah.
And sparred me.
Yeah.
And for the first time, my dad hit me pretty hard. Like it wasn't just taps and stuff like that. He nailed me right on the forehead. And I said, I'm gonna have to really fight my dad.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to fight my dad now. And you know, like a minute later, I threw a really hard right hand and I split him open. And he stopped and said, "You're really good.
Yeah,
you're ready to roll. I believe you. I believe you want to box now."
You got christened, man. It was like, you know, and it's got to be, you know what? My son Dominic is going to be 2 in a few months. And it's like, ever since I became a dad, I look at it so different now. Like I really give a lot of credit to your pops and, you know, even my father, like just some of the things, like there was times in the past I wanted to do certain things and my dad really protected me. No, you can't do it. Like
because they know, you know.
And I'm thinking he doesn't believe in me, but it's because he's trying to protect me, and I get it now with my son. I mean, I totally. So like when my son was born, I like gained a whole new respect for your dad, and you know, being able, and even your mom. You know what I mean? Let's be real. Your mom, okay, she may be the toughest out of everybody. Quite
the toughest person I know in the world.
Mrs. Feliz, Ileana, Tia, she is the toughest, I believe, pound for pound. It might be the women. Marlon's tough too.
Never mind. My mom is second. First is my sister.
Yes,
then
the women.
It's
the women. The women, pound for pound. If I had to go into a foxhole, I had to choose the male Felizes or the women Felizes. I might be tempted to choose the women Felizes.
They're tough.
They're tough, man.
They're tough.
So you know, it's like, you know, I just remember like saying like, because I looked at it differently for you. Not only did I see the talent, but I also saw it was getting to the point where everyone was in your head. Like, you got to fight. Are you going to fight? You know, that. Yeah. And I could see you were a young kid. And it was kind of like, I mean, even though you were older in some respects, you were still a young kid. And it's like, I kind of felt for you because I've been there. And it's like, you were teetering. I want to do it, don't want. And I just remember like, you know, at least give it a try. And then you're off and running, man.
Yeah,
I mean,
but you guys threw me in the Golden Gloves, bro.
Hey,
you threw me in the Golden Gloves.
Well, me and your dad.
My first amateur fight.
Me and your dad said, listen, we gotta throw him right in the deep end. You know what I mean? And I remember your dad saying, put him in. We could do it. And in you went, bro.
Sure enough.
In you went.
5 years in a row.
5 times in a row. We talk about Michael Jordan's streak. Mr. Feliz, 5 times in a row. Golden Glove, not only Western New England champion, New England champion. You went to National Golden Gloves twice. You were on the national team. I mean, we could go on and on about the amateurs and all you did. And frankly, you know, Danbury's funny. You know, there was fighters in the past. Your father was the first pro out of Danbury, basically. You know, obviously Delvin Rodriguez had some success as well. You know, your father was instrumental in the second half of his career, Delvin. But I always say and I'm biased, but when we started Champs, I felt like it was a new era in Danbury, right? I feel like there was always boxers in the past. And listen, let's be honest, there was some good fighters. You had Benny Little, you had your dad, Delvin. There was some good fighters, but I always feel like champs, I feel like 2015 and on, we started a culture of we call it Scrap City, man. And I feel like you were the first of this era. You were that guy, right? And you still are. Like the OG of Scrap City, quite frankly, is we've built a culture in just not even a decade at the gym in Danbury. Like we're really starting to catch our stride. I mean, it's crazy, man, to watch.
You say you don't have any talents, but you have a talent where you're able to like scout and see other talents, and you know how to put things together. I mean, I've been around this boxing thing forever in Danbury. You had Hat City, and then you had the center.
Yeah.
And there was no like amateur programs or anybody really doing anything for the amateur fighters.
Yeah.
You gave us a platform and an opportunity to go to these tournaments, which, that's something I could thank forever.
Well, listen, and we always talked about it. I've talked on pods before, when we lost to Trashers, I was out of hockey, I was out of sports, and then boxing, thanks to your dad and meeting your dad. I always wonder if I told my barber, no, I'm not going to help you out, I probably would have never met your dad, and who knows if we're having this conversation.
Right.
So shout out to the barber who I had to help out, and it's crazy, but again, I just remembered, it was an opportunity for me after the Trashers to kind of pick up where we left off. No, it's not hockey, but building a culture in Danbury. And it's not just one person, it's a team. So we've slowly put together I hate talking about it because it sounds cocky, but it's not. We've really created something special here in Danbury, and I feel like we're still just scratching the surface, Oh
yeah, for sure.
And you're right. There was Hat City Boxing, taking nothing away from
great
them.
Gyms.
The Harambe
These are great
Center.
gyms with great fighters.
But I feel like this era right now, it's like WWE, right? You had the Attitude Era, now you had the ruthless aggression. I just feel like from the champs era, we'll call it, right? I mean, there are some. You were the poster child, man. I mean, all the things you've accomplished. Your brother, obviously, behind you too. Omar, like all these guys. It's for you being born into like the sport. How great is it to see? Because we're really starting to catch our stride, and I feel like now, you're gonna be what? You're gonna be 28 this year, I think.
Yeah, AJ, thank you.
28.
Yeah.
But you're a young 28.
I am.
You're a young. You have no miles on you.
I am.
You're a very young 28. Because I'm gonna be 38. 38. Picture that. I'm 2 away from the big 4-0, pal. Okay.
That's fine. that's. You're good.
38 is a weird number. 37 last year was a weird number. 38 is starting to freak me out a little bit. But look, who cares, right? So, dude, it's like it's fun because I feel like we've all kind of boxing, it really is a team sport in a way. You know what I mean? And I feel like us as a team right now, the core, we've done a lot together. We've done a lot separate. And now I feel like we've all kind of back together, and it's like everyone's catching their stride. And it's like a lot of big things coming, man. I try to tell people, Danbury's a place to be, man, for this boxing stuff and combat sports in general. I really feel like we're going to continue to grow this thing.
Yeah. For sure, man. I'm telling you, man. You say it's a team sport. I mean, it's really one of the loneliest sports ever. But we created this thing where it's like it feels like you're part of a team here in Danbury.
Well, you're right, because I didn't box, so I'm used to team sports. I played team sports. Same with Coach Dave, right? So he played team sports. He didn't box growing up, really. I didn't box.
Right.
I came from the mentality of team sports. I know how to build like a hockey team, or you know how to construct a team sport team.
Oh yeah.
So we done that. I mean, if you go to the gym, I mean, it's not. I mean, you know it. You go to gyms like the size of the studio, and they got 6 different teams somehow.
Oh, yeah.
When you come to champs, it's one team, and it may not. There may be other coaches and stuff, but it's all one, and that's always what we've wanted. And now it's starting to come together, man. And I mean, really, the more I think about it on the fly, talking as we speak, I mean, you accomplished so much amateur wise, and it's crazy to think how dominant you really were. All those years, and here we are, pro 8-0. Damn, man. I mean, what I try to explain to people about you is you're so talented in so many ways, and it's like you're not one of these guys where boxing defines you. It's a big part of
could never.
It's a a lot of these guys. I've dealt with a lot of boxers too in 14 years, and it's like it's all they have mentally,
Right.
and it's really not. They can do a lot of other things, but it's all they want to identify themselves as, and
Right.
that's bad because the sport is rough. It is so rough in the ring, but more so out the ring. The stuff you got to deal with, and these guys, it's like That's why I think it's a strength of your personality. It's like this doesn't define you. You go in loose, and you're not tight, man. And you always taught me you can't fight tight. You know what I mean? You see guys trying to fight angry, and that's the worst, right? When you try to fight angry.
Of course, you got to be loose. And I'll never let boxing or anything like that define me because God blessed me with a lot of talents, bro. I could dance, or I make videos, or I edit and make music.
Let's talk about some of your talents because you told me, and I haven't seen a video, but when we first started, really getting close during the early champ stage, you told me about the Michael Jackson concerts you used to construct. You were the producer and the star of the show.
Yes.
Can you tell a little bit about these Michael Jackson concerts you would put on at your house?
So listen, I could always dance growing up. I was known for dancing in the family. I got all my cousins one summer when I was a huge Michael Jackson fan, and when he died, my heart was broken.
Yeah.
I was sobbing and just moping around the house. I couldn't believe Michael Jackson died. I was moonwalking my way to bed every night. So, I said I have to do something for Michael. This can't, I have to do something for Michael. And I got all my cousins and did like this thing for him. I held a concert in my basement, and I charged people. It was like $25. That was a lot of money.
People don't want to pay $25 for an amateur show.
You wanted to see that?
That's more than the Summer Sizzler ticket.
I had all my cousins sweating in a basement, practicing every move, and it had to be right because I watched the Michael Jackson documentary where I was Joe Jackson, literally.
Wait, how old were you again when this happened?
Probably 11 or 12.
Okay, 11, 12-year-old Fernely.
But I'm literally like telling them, spin again. One time Ali almost fainted. Poor Ali, man. Maybe that's why he doesn't want to give me the earrings.
It's all starting to make a little sense.
It does now. I'm sorry, Ali. But listen, poor Ali's a young kid, and he's just like, oh, my head hurts. I can't keep spinning. I need a break. I need water. And I'm like, Ali, no, you can't. Like, literally have this kid spinning around and dancing.
So you were Joe Jackson.
I was. It had to be perfect. We started off. The show started off when Michael was in the Jackson 5, and of course I was Michael. I'll never forget my mom. My mom. Oh my gosh. I was chubby at the time. My mom goes, I never remember Michael Jackson being so chubby like that. and I've got some like high-waisted pants, and they're tight, and like the belts like. Oh my goodness. So yeah, we started off. When he was in the Jackson 5, then the concert, I had a whole like stage crew.
I heard this is a famous 9th Avenue story because I remember when I first met you, I wanted to verify some of these things you told me. That's how I learned to trust you. And people are like, oh yeah, I remember that Michael Jackson concert. You had a whole production.
I did.
11, 12 years old, producing and starring as Michael.
Oh yeah. I was running the whole show. I was in the back yelling at the guys too. Like, hey, no, it was crazy, bro. One thing
I appreciate about you is we're very similar in when we get in on a project.
Oh yeah,
like it has to be right?
Yeah.
And that's what I appreciate about you because everything I watch from an early on with you, like everything when you're the quarterback of a project, you're like me. It's like it's impeccable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And sometimes with young kids, 11, 12, 13, they got a personality, they're outgoing like you, and then it kind of fades off. You're a born entertainer, okay?
Yes, for sure.
Where did you get that from, you think? Like, where do you think that's a DNA thing, or do you think you just, like, do you remember there was a time as a young kid when you're just like, I love to entertain?
I'll tell you, I started to think, that's a great question. I started to think about it recently. My dad was an entertainer. He was funny. He always had a camera out and stuff, and very, very funny guy. But when I was younger, I'm talking about like 6, 7, 8 years old, my dad used to like the cereal boxes used to come with a DVD inside of them.
Oh, I kind of remember that actually.
This
when
is
DVDs
like early
were
2004,
like
2000, whatever. So my dad always used to bring back the cereal boxes, and one of them came with a Michael Jordan DVD. And I used to watch that repeatedly over and over and over again. Like, I just got to see, like, greatness and, all his interviews. And it was just a crazy Michael Jordan DVD. Then another one came with a Michael Jackson. And I just picked up all the moves. I picked up why he was entertaining. I picked up, like, man, I used to watch that repeatedly over and over and over again. And I don't know, man. I've always, since a baby, man. I have like videos at 2 years old dancing, and I just used to love people watching me. It could have been one person or two people.
Yeah.
As long as there was eyes on me, I was just going, bro. And I was good.
You take that into the ring because I've seen, like, one thing that I love about you is you have characters, okay? You have, when you do your skits before fights, you have certain characters that you tap into. Almost like, and we're both big wrestling fans.
Oh, yeah.
You almost have like a wrestling character that you kind of tap in before a fight, and you put out these great skits at fight week or the weigh-ins.
Yeah.
I mean, you want to explain who some of your characters are, or who your favorite guys are?
Listen, I remember telling you I was going to do
this.
Before.
So let me stop. You're 100% right. I remember in the amateurs.
I don't know if you remember.
I do remember. It was at my house, too, because I remember we were talking a lot. And you and I would map out your amateur career almost like a pro career. And I just remember, I just remember we would talk, and I remember you saying, I have this vision when I go pro. And again, let's be honest, no one really knew if those were in the cards for you or not going pro. You had to want to do it. You know what I mean? And you did. But I remember you saying, because we both would watch wrestling, we love wrestling. I'm going to have characters that I'm going to tap into for each fight, and it's true. You're 100% right. I do remember that.
You were the first person I said that to.
And I was just thinking to myself, man, this kid is hilarious. And I'm like, I never doubt you because I know, especially with stuff like that, you're going to do it.
Of course.
So who are some of these characters we should, the fans who may not know, who should we look out for in the future? Who are your favorites?
Jeez. My favorite one, I'm going to be honest, is the 70s character that I only did one time.
I remember that.
I did it one time.
Yeah, platform shoes?
I had platform shoes with a fish inside of them and the heel. But I got too lost in that character. I got too lost in that one. Like, the other characters, people that follow me, they know Four Locos, a character. Yeah. He's amazing. Willie Bandit, people love a lot.
Yes, Willie Bandit seems to be one of the front runners, yeah.
But this 70s character, I was only able to do him once, and I can't bring him back because I got too lost.
You thought you were back in the 70s?
Dude, it was just the attention I was getting. I remember being in Miami. I fought in Florida. I remember being in Miami, and I just wouldn't take it off for 3 days straight.
Yeah.
Because everybody, from girls, people were just like, like in movies where they're like, hey.
Yeah.
And I was just like, bro, it was crazy. And I got stuck. I got stuck. I couldn't get out of it.
Does that 70s character have a name or just 70s guy?
I didn't get that far because I got too deep.
So again, people don't know, like, boxing is the entertainment game, but not a lot of guys are that committed to it, right? Like, you see a lot of guys who try it once, and maybe if they don't go viral, they don't want to do it. You are very committed to entertaining, and that's why people love you, because your lead up to fights are entertaining, your fights are entertaining, you know what I mean? And it's just like, it's so awesome to watch, man. It's only gonna grow. And guys, we're gonna, like I said, we're gonna put links to all this. We're gonna, we'll have to show some of your characters on the clips. Should we bring back 70s guy? I mean, maybe.
Please, guys, no, I can't do it again.
We might have to bring back 70s guy because I would love to see that again, man.
I can't. It's happening right now. Just talking about it.
Now, your brother, on the other hand,
yeah,
he's not gonna be a 70s guy, right? Isn't it funny how you could be born to the same parents but have different personalities? Like, me and my sister are similar but very different at times. You and your brother are very similar but very different. He's more Like, you don't see him putting on platform shoes, right?
No, I mean, he is funny behind closed doors.
Yes.
He's hilarious. He's very funny. But he's the guy that says, I'm going to let the hands do the talking. That's him. And he really does.
Yeah.
He's got dynamite in those hands. He's got power. Yeah, dude, he's got it.
He is funny. You're right. He is funny in his own. He's got that. He's very aware of his public image, which I appreciate.
Yeah,
and I think he likes the serious mode. But we know, and you see him more than me. But I see he's got a couple chuckles in him. He's a funny guy.
He's funny. He's a caring kid. He's loving. I love him so much. Give me the earrings. Yeah.
You and I have talked about this, and it's so true. I remember when, even when your brother was amateur, how nervous you'd get when he fought.
Oh, my goodness.
And it's so true because, like, there's been a handful, including yourself, of guys where, I've dealt with a lot of boxers, but there's only been a handful of guys where when they go to compete, I wouldn't say I'm nervous, like I'm worried for you guys, but a little more anxious. And Ali was one of them. You're one of them. But I never forget, like, sometimes when Ali would fight, even amateur, how worried you would get. And, we joke about the sibling rivalry, you guys messing with each other, but you guys love each other. And how hard is it to watch your younger brother? I mean, you would rather it be you, right? I mean, how tough is it to watch sometimes, man? It's got to be. It's like our boy Mr. Diamond Hands. I mean, when he's fighting, like sometimes when he drops, it's the same thing. I'm not worried that he can't handle himself or anything, but it's nerve-wracking, right? To watch. I mean, you guys are a fighting family. I mean, I think about your mother. I think about your dad who's in the corner. It's weird. There's so many dynamics in your family when one of you guys are fighting.
Yeah.
Your dad in the corner, your uncle in the corner, your mother in the stands, your brother. I mean, and then when he's fighting at you, how difficult is it to watch?
It's the worst, AJ. It's really the worst thing ever, especially it being your brother. And like you said, it's not that he can't handle himself, but I've been training the kid since he was 2 years old. I've been on my knees playing boxing with him. Like we had rivalries at the house where it's like we would set up like the kitchen would be our arena, and we'd set it up to where we'd be in Vegas at the MGM.
Yep.
We'd be in New York at Madison Square, and we'd pretend, it was these places, and in our heads it really was, and I was always the bad guy, and he was the Black Mosquito at the time. He's the Black Mosquito. He was just, he'd always knock me out at the end, but I would always get him, super mad like, all the time.
It's kind of like that now, right? You guys got the same sort of thing going.
Man, and we had, how creative I am, walkout entrances and everything, and whatever. So like, we were doing that from like the time from when he was 2 till probably, till now.
Yeah.
So I mean, to watch him go into the ring, and then the pros is no joke, bro.
Yeah.
Those 10-ounce leather gloves are no joke.
Yeah.
So anything could happen.
Yeah.
Man, I hate watching him fight.
I know. And I'm the same way. Like, I don't even like going to the fights, bro. And I will always watch. I will always support. I do my job in the background wherever my place is for anyone. But it's very hard, man, to watch. Like, it's one of those things where I would have never thought years ago I'd have a problem watching like a guy I'm working with or like. But it's tough, man. I mean, it's very, very tough, and it's crazy to watch, man.
I don't like it.
and he probably feels the same about you. You know what I mean? It's got to be, the same for him, man. So let's talk about. I mean, we talk about, you're multi-talented, right? Your Michael Jackson concerts, you're dancing, you're this, dude. One thing that everyone around here knows you for, one of your many talents, and we're gonna put a link in the description. You guys got to check this out. Is Your I don't want to call them skits because it's not like it's fake or anything like that, but it's almost like, I'll call it the Impractical Joker style pranks you do on people is really getting to the point where I lose it laughing every time, and you've always been good, right? You have the voices, you have the characters, you always mess with people. And the thing is, even back in the day, people don't know whether you're being serious or not. You just have this acting face. And we talked about it before we came on the air. Like, I don't know how you keep a straight face messing with people. Nothing malicious, but how you keep a straight face. And I've watched you. You've developed to the point where, you're 27 now. You are so good at it. Some of the recent ones, and we're going to put them in the description, and you guys got to check out Fernely Jr.'s Instagram. You just hit 1 million views on one that you posted like 2 days ago, basically. You prank people. You have fun with people. Yeah. And it's like, for some reason, we talked about this, they engage back with you. It's amazing because sometimes people just like, get away from me type of thing. Yeah. Dude, can you explain some of the things you do? And just because they're some of the funniest things, I don't know how you even keep a straight face with these people.
Well, I mean, the straight face, I could keep a straight face because I really get into it. Just like I get into the characters, I really get into like what I'm saying. And my approach is not like a lot of guys do pranks to really bother people. Yeah. And to like get a reaction where it's like, negative reaction. My approach is always like, how can I make this person enjoy this?
How to make them smile?
Yeah. How can I get a laugh out of this person and also get a laugh out of the viewers? Yeah. So I've always been good at that. And I think that's why that video hit 1 million because, like, the guy's laughing.
You're so right because as a kid, right, the show Jackass came out when I was in my mid-teens. And that's all me and my cousins wanted to do is prank people, mess with people. And you're right, kind of bother them. God, Lord rest my grandfather. I remember cracking an egg into a cup and pouring the yolk on his face. What is the point of that? What a dick. It was a dick move. Rest in peace, Grampy. I'm sorry. It's one of the biggest regrets of my life is dumping that yolk on his face.
I've done some stuff too like that to my
But you're so right, man. The thing that I think people love about you is you really get like some of the greatest reaction from people. Like that, you really bring a smile to their face. And like the guy you walked up on him and you asked him where the red onions were at the grocery store, right? And you startled him. And he had the little Irish accent. You just could tell you made his day because he was dying laughing the whole time with you.
Right. And I really enjoy doing that, man. If boxing fell off today, best believe I'd be making those videos.
Listen, if Impractical Jokers is watching, at some point, people are going to know when they're coming. It's a joke. You got to be a shoo-in for something like that. And we're going to we got to do some of this together. We got to put it out for people. Maybe we'll hit some hockey rinks and mess with people.
I'm all for it.
Some of your skits, like I said, are some of the funniest things you'll ever see. Speaking of hockey, and guys, if you're on our YouTube channel, you could go back a few episodes ago. We did a special feature when we went up to Elevate 02.
Oh, that was fun.
In Massachusetts, and we had a Trasher tournament. We lost in the finals. Team Trashers lost, but you were actually the one who shot the video, produced the video. So guys, go back and check out, I think it's called like Crazy 3v3 tournament or whatever. Yeah. I've slowly tried to bring you into the hockey world a little bit. You know what I mean? And people love you. You got to do a video with Swaggy P, which is one of the biggest hockey personalities right now in all of hockey. How crazy was that? So if you guys didn't see it, Swaggy P is one of the biggest, influencers in hockey. We decided, well, it was your idea as a director. You were going to work on your head movement while he took some shots at you.
Yeah.
I think you were a little taken back at how fast that puck actually can come.
No, when I got on the ice and he was like showing me, he's like, hey, buddy, it's going to be like this speed right here. Boom. And it was just flying past my head. I was like, oh, my goodness. If one of those hit me, like, I didn't know a puck weighed that much. It was like so hard. So, I had fun with that, man. Shout out to Swaggy P for that. That was really awesome of him. Thank you.
And it's awesome because, you're just one of these guys where no matter what crowd you're in, people are drawn to you, and you just got you just got a way to make people feel like belonging, and people like the little we've done together with hockey. So the hockey community loves you. Okay, you're gonna be the hockey community's favorite boxer, bro.
I hope so, guys. Take me in because I love hockey. Man, this guy, man, he brought me up there to Elevate 02. That was in Boston.
Yeah, yep.
And I had so much fun that day.
We gotta get you eventually. You know, I gotta protect you still. You know, you still got a boxing
I
career
could
and
skate,
stuff.
man.
But we gotta get you on the ice.
I can't skate like you. I seen you the other day. That was very impressive, going backwards and stuff. I'm like, AJ, what?
Okay, all right. But
Since
listen,
when were you athletic?
Oh man, listen, I had my time, pal. All right, I may be long in the tooth right now, but you know.
Man,
don't worry, kid. We got to get you on the ice. I would love to see you as a goalie, even because you don't have to skate too much.
I'd be pretty good.
I think you'd be a good goalie. You got the reflexes. Okay, you got good eye vision. You got hand-eye coordination.
Yeah.
Would you? We don't have to commit to a day. Would you consider maybe going in net one day to take some shots?
Of course, I would.
Full equipment, obviously.
Full equipment.
Thing.
Yes.
I think that would make some good content. You know, we live in a world of content now. I would love to see you on the ice.
Hockey's really tough, bro.
It's fun,
really
right?
Cool. I didn't know a lot of things. Thank you for bringing me over there.
It's faster than people think.
I just kept asking questions like.
I mean, we were watching some high-level junior and college guys playing, and it's like I tell people until you're really up close, you don't see how fast these guys are going.
Yeah.
Even our boy GoPro, who was playing that game.
Oh my goodness.
GoPro was really annoying me, and but we beat him, so it's all good, man.
GoPro.
Listen, what advice you give young athletes, not even just a boxer, what advice you give to any young athlete that will be watching? Again, you're a high-level professional. What advice can you give to a kid? Maybe he doesn't know if he wants to do something. Maybe he does want to do it. What do you say to a kid who could be watching you?
For someone who doesn't know if they want to do something, either the person around them or themselves, they need to do what you and my dad did to me. Just throw him in the deep end and see if he could swim. That's what you guys did to me, and I got to see. I was terrified my first fight. I was scared. I was literally so nervous. It was the most nerve-wracking thing I've ever done in my life.
Yeah.
I've never gotten that nervous ever again. But that was very scary. I thought anything could happen. I've never fought before. Am I going to get knocked out? You get all these negative thoughts when, you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. So try to throw yourself in the deep end or have somebody around you push you to just, if you want to be an actor, go all for it and give it your all. Even if it's, set a goal. I'm going to do this for half a year, 6 months, and see if it's something you want to do,
How you talk about, and this is a good question because, I've talked to a lot of hockey guys and stuff like that, and especially guys that, have to fight at times on the ice. Can you describe to someone, even now, you had an extensive amateur career, dozens of fights. Obviously, you've had 8 pro fights. I'm sure, I don't think it's ever easy. I'm sure you learn how to deal with it. How nerve-wracking in the locker room, because boxing, it's a macho game. It's a mental game.
Oh yeah, mental.
I always say you're not nervous, you're anxious. I tell young kids, look, you're not nervous, you're just anxious. What is the feeling in the locker room when they come in, they're like, hey, you're next up? You know what I mean? What is that? What's that feeling? Because not a lot of people can say they've experienced that.
I know that I'm meant for this because I have this switch. A lot of guys freeze when the lights come on. Mm-hmm. There's really a switch. People talk about this switch, and it's real. Leading up to the fight, let's say fight week, I'm thinking, geez, what can happen? I can die in this ring, or I can, get cut or get injured or die or whatever. And then that just keeps going. It'll be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Then the weigh-ins come. Mm-hmm. I'm still geez, trying to intimidate this guy to see if I can get one over on him or a little edge. And then, fight day comes. And then there's always that nap that I take 3 hours before I go to the locker room. And I always just there. I'm always by myself. I turn off all the lights. I'm on the floor.
Yeah.
And I'm just thinking.
You were always a floor sleeper. I remember even the tournaments and stuff. You always were on the floor.
Not all the time, guys. It's only fight day. I'm on the floor.
All right. Yes, that's.
I don't want anyone thinking I'm weird. He sleeps on the floor. No. No, but
there's nothing wrong with the floor.
No, it's for your back and stretch out.
Yeah.
And, But I always get on the floor and I'm on my back and there's just a switch where it's just that's it. There's no going back. I already signed up for it. This guy's going to die. Mm-hmm. And instead of getting like in a bad mood or like a tough mood, I start playing some like old groovy 70s, 80s music and turn on my radio and I start dancing and I go to the arena just like that, bumping some music. I'm in the locker room and it turns into a celebration.
Yeah.
I look at it as a celebration of my hard work throughout the camp, and I'm just celebrating and just dancing back there. And they're interviewing me. Hey, Mr. Feliz, you're not nervous? No, what do I have to be nervous for? I signed up for this. This is what I do. And it's kind of like I almost look crazy because everybody else in the locker room is like
tight.
Nervous,
it's tight,
and thinking, wow, this could be the last day.
The boxing locker rooms are funny, man. I've been in them too, and from a different perspective. And I always scan the room because especially when you first start out, you're not in the locker room by yourself. You're with other teams, and you could always see the guy that's like tight, like wound. It's very interesting to watch.
Yeah. People look at me crazy.
You probably are the best thing that could happen to a locker room like that because it's kind of like it's hard. It's an infectious type of personality. So, I mean, I've been in the locker rooms where it's very loose, and I've been in locker rooms where it's like, ooh, it's wound tight, man.
Well, a lot of fighters and coaches, they look at me like I'm crazy. They're like, yo, what's going on? And I start pacing back and forth in the locker rooms. I start like dancing and like just hopping back and forth and stretching out and just – I start yelling a little bit. I'm like, this is my house. This is me. This is my time. And everybody's like, what the heck is wrong with this guy? This guy's a freak. And even when I come out, I'm dancing and I'm just whatever. I already accepted this. Why do I have to be tense or upset?
It's true. I remember, and again, you've taught, I mean, you being 10 years younger than me, you still learn from younger people. I'll never forget, I said it earlier in the pod, like, You always told me you cannot fight mad, you can't fight tense, and it's so true. Because you see guys when they first start boxing, they put the gloves on and they're squeezing, man. They are like cutting the circulation. Sure. That's how. But I remember the only time I personally can say that I saw you, I don't want to say mad, I'll say irked, was National Golden Gloves that first year. Where were we? Lafayette, Louisiana. Yeah. Before you fought Detroit, the kid from Detroit.
Oh, my goodness.
There was something, I don't know if it was at the weigh-ins, because I didn't go to the weigh-ins. I think you were with our boy Julito, Louis Rosa. And I just remember that was the only time I could say I saw you aggravated with who you were going to fight. And I remember we're in the back, and we're in the locker room, and I'm watching you, and you're pacing. And Detroit, the kid from Detroit is like 20 feet from us. And you're like, oh, it's going to be a bad night for Detroit. I just remember, and I never saw that from you before. And I was a little worried because I'm like, oh, is he mad? Is he going to lose it in there? And it was actually one of the most dominating. I mean, I think you stopped the kid.
Yeah,
it was one of the most dominating performances I ever saw. And that's when I really knew, like you said, that switch. That, you're happy, you're go-lucky. And I think people sometimes get the wrong impression with that. You got a mean streak to you too, and I've seen it. And that fight against that kid from Detroit, I was like, there it is. There's the mean streak. And you have to have a little bit of that in the fight game.
You have to.
But that was the only time I'll never forget. I was in the back with you. I think Simon was there too. And I just remember, like, I was a little nervous. I'm like, he seems angry. And I'm like, he always told me, don't fight angry. I just remember, make a statement. I just remember screaming it the whole fight. And it was one of the most dominating amateur boxing performances I ever saw. So, I mean, this is a loaded question because we know you could do 20 things. What's next for you pro boxing? Because we know there's a lot of other things coming your way. People are going to be hearing your name forever with a lot of different stuff. Pro boxing, what's next for you? Obviously world champion. What's your goals, man?
Well, honestly, I'm just trying to just make it to like 15-0.
Yeah.
And then by that time, then it's just the main stage, the big fights, bigger fights with top level, fighters. Not that I'm fighting anybody that's not good right now, but
well, people don't know the boxing game is like there's levels to it, like everything else. When you first start out, it's kind of like the club show scene. You're gonna fight guys around your level, if not slight. I mean, it's not a lot of guys are your level, so a lot of the guys may be considered on paper lower level, but every fight's a challenge. Every single one. Matter of fact, these are some of the more nerve-wracking fights, 4-6 round fights, because guys got nothing to lose sometimes.
Right.
And I tell people, you come in as a blue chip prospect, and then you're fighting a guy that maybe on paper is outmatched, but those are the guys that come in loose, nothing to lose, and sometimes they'll scare. Those are some of the scariest fights to be involved in.
They don't care,
and it's like you've and like I said, we joked a little bit at the start of the show, but you've lost weight. Have you ever thought? And we've talked about this. Have you ever thought going to cruiserweight, bridgerweight? I know there's a new we've talked about this for years. That new bridgerweight division, which I think is. You could be the face of that division for as long as you decide to do it, man. I mean, is that something that you've discussed or,
I still think about it every single day. I'm like, man, should I just start dieting a little more and go down to cruiserweight? And but I mean, it's like, cruiserweight's faster guys, with power still.
Yeah.
Heavyweights, they're slow.
Yeah.
They're slower with a lot of power.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, I'm not sure. I'm kind of liking this bridgerweight thing.
Well, what's nice about the position you're in is you could almost, a bridgerweight to heavyweight is only a difference of a couple pounds. So, I mean, you could almost, you see guys junior middleweight to middleweight. You could kind of see where the best opportunities are. And, man, this bridgerweight division, it's for real. I really hope that they keep pushing it because we talked about this years ago. I'm like, man, if this bridgerweight thing's for real, I mean, you could literally just you could be the face of that division. I mean, I think it would be perfect because a lot of people don't know. A lot of heavyweight boxers, they're 210, they're 215, they're a little leaner. There's guys 280 pounds. You know what I mean? Whether it's muscle, fat, or a combination of both.
They're still 280.
They're still 280. I mean, I feel like, boxing's trying to look after the fighters a little bit. That heavyweight division's rough, man. I mean, you got guys 210 pounds fighting a guy 280. It doesn't matter how fast so it's going to be interesting, man. I think you're going to be the face of the bridgerweights. Your brother could be the face of the heavyweights.
Yeah.
You could buy him some earrings. He could buy you some earrings.
Yeah.
He could buy you some bridgerweight earrings.
If he gets me those earrings now, I'll buy him earrings later, if that makes sense.
Hey, listen, guys. Make sure you're following our boy, Fernely Feliz Jr. You know you're like a brother to me. We got big things coming. This won't be the last time you're seeing our guy here. We're gonna see you as a goalie one day when the timing is right.
I'm really looking forward to that. All jokes aside.
And listen, I got the perfect team for you. Our sponsor, Club 93. Our boys, Ken, Jim, Will, all our boys at Club 93 been supporters from literally episode 1. And listen, guys, if you're going to be in the Jersey Shore Arena area, July 20th, Club 93, our sponsors, are putting out their first ever official organized team for this charity event. There's a player coach out that way, Adrian Thomas, who was unfortunately diagnosed with ALS. So like they always do, man, Fernely, you're going to meet these guys one day. They love you. They support so many causes. They've helped us, me and Amesy, so much. They're going to be doing, they covered all the jerseys for all the teams in this tournament. They are unreal people.
That's awesome.
July 20th, I'm assuming it's open to the public. Go see our boys, Club 93. Root them on their first ever organized tournament. Listen, maybe they're looking for a goalie. I know they've been really pulling me. They're the ones who got me on the ice when you saw me. Those are the guys.
Those guys are cool, man.
Those guys are the ones.
Really cool.
I mean, those guys are the ones that pulled me into the ice. And now,
thank you for bringing AJ back on ice. I was dying to see it.
So listen, we might have to, we could train together. We get you some goalie gear. I can try to get my shot back. You can, and then maybe we can crack the Club 93 lineup one day at a real serious tournament. But big shout out to our guys at Club 93. We're gonna put a link in the description for their merch. We gotta get you a Club 93 tee. We got to support these guys. All the proceeds go to all these charities and everything that they do. Big shout out to the boys at Club 93. Fernely, my man.
It was a pleasure, man.
Listen, this won't be the last time with our boy Fernely Feliz Jr. Got to follow him. Guys, like, subscribe, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Make sure you're following our boy Fernely Feliz Jr. And watch out for him in a grocery store near you because he's coming. He might get you.
I might get you.
We'll see you guys next week.